Wish TV is proud to honor teachers in Central Indiana
She is an inspiration to all of us.
He's always smiling.
who go above and beyond,
He's done so many things for so many people.
He's inspirational.
making a difference,
He's always taught me to believe in myself and never get down on myself.
Everybody's biggest cheerleader.
and deserving of recognition for their outstanding efforts in
I
education.
love the people that I work with, and to know that I've made an impact on somebody's life, it is truly a great honor.
It's an honor. I love what I do, and the kids are the ones who make it work. I'm like just so taken aback because I love them so much. The fact that, they love me just as much just means a lot. Sorry, you're going to have to cut that part out.
And you are our winner.
Oh, thank you so much.
From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Golden Apple Awards Podcast, sponsored by WGU.
Hi everyone, Hannah Mordeau here. Our first winner of this school year is Miss Sydni Jennings. You heard her story on the last podcast. She's a Spanish teacher in Lawrence Township who grew up in the district and was inspired by her own teacher. She is so loved by her students that 6 of them nominated her for this award. The Golden Apple Award comes with a trophy, a school supply shopping spree, and a surprise visit from our News 8 team, plus new this year, a $2,000 cash prize. The surprise was emotional and went really fast, so I brought Miss Jennings back here on the podcast. Miss Jennings, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
So your story just aired last week. You've had a
Yes.
few days to digest it all. How are you feeling now?
I still cannot process. It's still like crazy to me, that all of that even happened. So still processing.
What I think was just so special was that so many different students of yours from over the years and in different sections of your life reached out nominating you. I can always tell when I get the nominations in when it's from a student versus another staff member or whatnot.
Yeah.
But getting to hear from them, what was that like for you?
It was everything. It was genuinely everything. And honestly, that whole week before and that week, even before you guys came, it was rough. So, just that happening and, hearing what they had to say, I said, okay, this is what I needed to kind of recharge myself to continue on, in the week. So it was beautiful.
You came into teaching in a sort of tough time. It was really the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
What did you start? How did you get started? And tell us a bit about your journey.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually started student teaching during the pandemic. So,
Okay.
Student teaching, on Zoom. So that was insane. And I didn't really get the experience that everybody else, got when they were going through their student teaching of, being in front of a classroom, having students in person. So it was really a transition, post graduation of, me kind of just saying, do I really know what I'm doing? Because I didn't have that traditional, student teaching experience, but it definitely, it worked out.
It seems like it. So you went through the Spanish immersion program there
Yes.
in Lawrence Township. How did you kind of say, this is something that I want to do as my career? What made that click for you?
Yeah. So I my mom had her own daycare for many, many years. So kind of, just growing up in that and really seeing how she cared, for young children, kind of sparked that interest, but also just all of the teachers that I really had, kind of impacted me in such a way that I was like, wow, I really need, I really want to, do what they did. And then just starting the immersion program when I was 5, and kind of just growing up in that, it almost became second nature, the culture, the language, all of the things. So, my passion that I kind of got from it, I was like, I want to also, show students that same passion that I had, and hopefully they would get a little bit of something from what I had to say in my experience.
Yeah, because another language can be intimidating, especially if you're
Absolutely.
not necessarily in the immersion program, but you're just taking Spanish as a language at school. Do you think it helps for students to see that you weren't necessarily fluent in this from the get-go, that this is something that you learned and were able to learn?
Absolutely. I think so. And I always, start the school year off with, hey, like, this is my background. I'm not a native speaker, although some people think that I am, I'm like, I'm not a native speaker. That's not, my background. But my background is, that I went through this program and I learned it secondhand. And was it easy? Absolutely not. Like I had my, hiccups and, my struggles. But at the end of the day, it opened so many doors for me. And that's something that I try to tell my students, learning another language is hard, but the benefits and the doors that it opens is like ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And people are only going to be speaking dual languages and more languages more. A lot of your students said you really connect with them just because you kind of get to know them on a personal level. How do you do that?
So I always like to start my classes off with not even really, of course we have our systems, but I like to go to each individual person, and just ask, how are you? How was your class? How was your weekend? So really waiting to kind of get to that content, content it's important. We're in school, but people don't learn from people they don't like. So if they don't like you, if they don't connect with you, then they're not going to hear you. They're not going to receive what it is that you have to give them, and even if you have a confrontation, if you don't have that relationship, there's no way that you guys can overcome that. So I definitely try to take time, to also see what they're doing outside of just my class, rather that be going to a play that they might be in, or, going to one of their games or anything like that, just really doing what I would want somebody to do for me.
Mm-hmm. The kids said they go visit you even if they're not in your class anymore. Yes. So it seems like that must take a lot of energy though, to commit that much to each relationship with these students for years.
It definitely does. But I would say it's all worth it, I know when I was first starting out, I think it's just, new teacher thing in general. You think, oh, you need to stick with the book and, teach the content. But at the end of the day, if they get, one life lesson, or if they, just by them coming in and me, showing them love, they figure out how to also give people love, then I've done my job, regardless if they learn a lick of Spanish. As long as I've given them something that they're able to utilize in their life, I've done my job, and I'm okay with that.
Do you think that comes from, your mom with the daycare, and then also your own teacher that we met in the story, who you then went on to be her student teacher?
Oh, absolutely. 110%. She's everything. And also the relationship that she's built with her students, over the years, like, everybody comes back to see Gemma. We call her Sita. Everybody comes back to see her. And so it's really been like a full circle moment, because she's definitely one of the people that I was like, man, when I become a teacher, when I, become a Spanish teacher, I want to be like her. I want to embody, a lot of the characteristics and the traits that she shows. So yeah,
it kind of proves she mentioned when we were talking to her that there was another teacher that she was her student that is a teacher there at the school. So it kind of proves that you invest and take that time with these students. It kind of comes full circle, and we need more teachers like all of you at school. You also do that after school program, GEMS. Can you tell me about that?
So GEMS is an all girls club, and it's beautiful. I actually was a part of it when I was in middle school and when I was in high school. So it was fantastic to be able to come back and, kind of give what it is that I was given. But it's really about girl empowerment, pushing them to succeed and pushing them to, see the value that they have. And to build them up so that they're able to do that to any other girl, young woman, that they come in contact with.
How much time does that take from you every week? Because you're getting your master's as well, right?
Yes, I am. So our meetings are every Wednesday, and it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we do a lot of different things in the community. So it's not only them, kind of having workshops here, but we might go, to an elementary school and help out in the after school program, or, we may go downtown and, help at like a food drive event, things like that. So really building them up in different areas, creating our next leaders.
Wow, that's amazing. When it comes to you getting your master's, it's so that you can further your teaching abilities, right?
Absolutely.
Talk to me about what is next for you when it comes to that.
I don't know. There's so many things that I would love to do just because I love education, and I love building up young people. And so, my future goal is I want to have my own school corporation, and really kind of to take what I've learned, all of the different stories and impacts that the students have had on me, and create kind of my own little school to embody that. So
Wow.
that's future goals for me. So, just continuing to learn all that I can now so I can take that into my next venture.
It'd be naive if I did not mention you wrote a book in the process of all of this.
I did.
Tell me about that.
So it is a 40-day devotional. And in this devotional, it kind of just, for the people that are kind of like, I don't know where I want to go with my faith, or I want to increase my faith or, different things like that. It really kind of takes you through, day by day, these different studies and these different things that you can really think on. It's honestly not something that I ever envisioned myself doing, but, God said, hey, write this book. And I said, okay. And so I did it, amongst all of the other things that I do. But, obedience is always great. So me, doing that, it opened up doors like this, which is like insane.
Has it helped you think, in your process of teaching and growing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, because teaching, it's really hard. It's very taxing. The emotional aspect of it is just a lot. So in order to keep me grounded, so I don't, pop off when a student might say something crazy, or something frustrates me in the moment, I know, where my kind of guiding compass is. And I can really, reflect back on that and, kind of go back to that point to be like, okay, I know that I'm in this position for a reason. I know that I've, been placed to be a teacher for a reason. Okay, let me gather myself, let me continue to move how God wants me to.
Back to your story that aired here on Wish TV. How do you hope that it inspires maybe other future teachers or people thinking about getting into the industry? Because we really do need educators more than ever.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is just always remembering to lead in love. Love can help so many people. Love can, transform so many things. And when you don't think that you can keep going and that it's too hard, that as long as you are showing love, good things will come to you. And even if it doesn't, that's okay. But you know that you've done all that you know how.
I think it's good too that you said, gosh, it is hard sometimes. It is hard.
It's hard, yeah.
But that's part of it, but it's worth it on the other end too.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want us to know about your story, or you want everybody out there to know that maybe I didn't ask you about?
That it's, like you said, it's hard, but it's just such a beautiful profession. Like, to really connect and create relationships, with students, to have them, you'll see them maybe for a year, maybe even for 2 weeks, 3 days, but to see them years later, or to have, random text messages at the beginning of the school year, like, hey, I hope your students treat you well this year. It's really just the small things, or, students getting married and, they're inviting you to, these big life events. There's not really any other profession that can do that. And so it's even though it's hard, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you're able to experience big life events with, those people that you're able to grow with.
It's kind of like raising a child. It's
Absolutely.
Sometimes the days are long, but so rewarding in the end.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. You're truly an inspiration, and I can't wait to see how your career grows from here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Congratulations, Miss Jennings. She truly does deserve this award. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. We're going to continue honoring teachers here in Central Indiana who go above and beyond to make a difference in our children's lives. So if you know a teacher who deserves recognition, please nominate them for the Golden Apple Award. It is so easy to do. Just send in a detailed nomination at wishtv.com/goldenapple and listen for the next winner right here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The Wish TV Golden Apple Awards are sponsored by WGU. Nominate a teacher and learn more at wishtv.com now. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and discover even more great podcasts now on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.